I spend a lot of time in the digital world. So it only makes sense for me to apply my minimalist approach to life in the digital world the same way that I do it in the real world. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I do this, what I do to minimize digital clutter and keep my digital life tidy, organized, and free from distractions. So I primarily use 3 devices: my iPhone, my iPad, and my MacBook. Yes, I like Apple products, but one thing I like more is efficiency. I keep everything synced and consistent across my devices. Using products by the same manufacturer often makes that easier. The following apps also play a huge part in my system. For my web browser, I use Safari. I find that this works best for my workflow because of the quick sync between Apple devices and easy sharing to other apps. For my email, I use ProtonMail. For articles and other content I consume, I use Instapaper. For photos, I use Mylio. For digital journaling, I use Day One. This is probably the most important app here, as I channel practically everything into here to keep a detailed record of every single day of my life. Let's see how it all ties together. First, let's have a look at my phone. I don't even know what this is. I think it's the iPhone XR or something like that. It's a second-hand purchase. I've never bought a new phone in my life. Right, so in the past, what I found to be creating the most digital clutter on my phone was photos and videos. I would take a lot of pictures and most of them I would never look at again. Often, when I'm out and about, I will see something that I find inspiring or interesting for whatever reason, so I will take a snap. Or I might see a flyer for somebody's garage sale. I will take a picture of that to make a note of the details. I would often forget about it, and pictures like that would start to pile up on my phone. Same with screenshots. I would find something interesting online. I would screenshot it for future reference and not look at it again until the day my phone was running out of memory and it was necessary to delete something. Anyway, that's how it used to be. Now I have systems in place to deal with these issues. All the photos I take with either my iPhone or my iPad, I organize with an app called Mylio. It's not a cloud service, but it will sync your photos across all the devices logged into Mylio on the same Wi-Fi network. It creates small preview files on your mobile devices while storing high-res files on your hard drive. At the end of each day, I will look at the photos I took and only keep the very best ones. I'll try and pick 1 or 2 shots that kind of sum up the day and add those to my Day One journal. I've always been terrible at writing in a journal, and I have no idea what to say. Simply describing what I'm seeing in a photo makes it a lot easier for me to put into words what happened during the day. At the end of the week, every Sunday, I will make sure that all the photos I want to keep are synced to Mylio and stored on my hard drive. I will then delete all my photos from my camera roll. The next thing that might cause clutter on my phone is apps. So I have everything, all my apps, on 2 screens. My most used apps are here in the dock, so that's my calendar. I just use the built-in Apple calendar, Day One, Safari, and ProtonMail. Then I have the other apps that I want easy access to here on the first screen. So that's my phone, messages, Sleep Cycle, which is an app I use to track my sleep, Instapaper, and Mylio. And if I swipe to the second screen, that's where I keep all my other apps organized by category. I will review these every month. If I haven't used an app in that time, I will consider deleting it. It'll take like a few seconds to download it, should I ever need it again anyway. So with the latest iOS, your apps are actually organized by category on the third screen here. But I prefer to do my own categories because I want as few categories as possible, so it's easy to get a quick overview. So right now I have lifestyle, utilities, money, creativity, well-being, and crypto. There's an argument for combining crypto with money, but I'm just going to keep the 2 separate for now. So I don't have any social media apps on my phone except for Twitter, and that's buried on the last page of the lifestyle folder. I don't like social media. I find that consuming it is mostly a waste of time and not very good for your mental health. Being active on social media, however, is a necessary evil for content creation. So I do have a presence on social media, but that is entirely automated by planning my content in advance. So by the way, I also have Siri suggestions turned off on my phone. By default, I think if you swipe down on your Apple device to do a search, You will see suggested apps Siri think you might want to open. I think you might be shown news and things like that as well. Anyway, I've got all that stuff switched off so I won't be distracted. I've actually deleted the news app. The next thing to sort out is one that can get out of hand pretty quickly. Open browser tabs and bookmarks. In the past, whenever I searched for something, I would usually open up a new tab, not close it once I was done, and soon I'd have like 100 tabs or something like that open on my mobile devices especially. Articles I wanted to read, rather than bookmark them or add them to my reading list, I would just leave them in an open tab. How I organize all this stuff now is as follows. I use Safari as my default browser. iCloud takes all my bookmarks, browsing history, etc., and syncs it across all my devices. Also, this is where Instapaper really shines. What this app does is that it takes any page, article, Twitter thread, or snippet of text that you feed it, and turns it into one easy to read page. It even removes the adverts, mostly. So if I'm browsing and I come across an article that I want to read, but it's not convenient for me to do so at the time, which is usually the case, I will save it to Instapaper and then return to it later. And I can do that from any device that's synced to my Instapaper account. So I can find an article on my phone, for example, and then come back the following day and read it on my iPad. If I read an article that I find particularly inspiring, I will like it in Instapaper, and that's going to trigger an IFTTT action, if this then that, which is an amazing tool for automating stuff, and the article will be added to my day 1 entry for that day, which means that it's easy for me in the future to see that on this particular day I read this particular article and it may have inspired me to take some kind of action. I'll also save the article in Instapaper by moving it to an appropriate folder. All other pages in Instapaper will be deleted as soon as I'm done reading. So that's how I deal with articles and similar content. I don't bookmark those in my browser anymore. The bookmarks in my browser only consist of websites that I revisit on a regular basis for their utility. In fact, let's go look at these on my desktop. Before putting my phone away, however, one last thing: text messages and contacts. You might think it doesn't really matter, it doesn't take up any space on a device. The way I see it, it just adds to the clutter, having old conversations still stored on your device. Some exchanges might have sentimental value, but a chain of messages giving directions to the pizza delivery guy, there's no need to keep that. Personally, I'm pretty ruthless when it comes to deleting sentimental messages as well. I might screenshot a conversation if I feel that something important was said, and I think it's something I'll revisit for whatever reason, in which case I will save the screenshot to day 1. Other than that, I will delete all text conversations with people I'm not in regular contact with. The same goes for my contacts. If I come across the details of someone I don't really speak to anymore, but used to have some kind of relationship with, it makes me reminisce, which is not always a bad thing, but I see it as a distraction and a thief of my time. Sometimes it also makes me wonder what they're up to now, and it might make me want to get back in touch with them, which might not be a good idea. So to avoid wasting my time reminiscing about something when I should be doing other things, or Facebook stalking someone, not that I would do that, I don't keep the details of people I no longer speak to in my contacts. Okie dokie, let's look at how I organize my bookmarks. So like I said, I use Safari. I've turned off all the extras, so that means frequently visited, Siri suggestions, and so on. I want to start each browsing session with a blank page showing only my bookmarks. So just like the apps on my phone, I sort everything into just a few categories. So there's personal. This is mainly websites of local businesses or things relating to planning holidays, products I'm looking into maybe buying, and so on and so on. Logan Apex is where I organize links relating to this online presence, and my other channel, Board Apex Crypto, well-being, and money. Let's look at how I keep my inbox tidy. I use Proton Mail. I have a few different email addresses for various purposes, but they all go to the same inbox, where they're filtered and immediately sorted into folders in accordance with some rules I have set up. You can do this with Gmail and Outlook or any good email service really. My tip for if you suddenly find yourself with 3,000 unread emails, the majority of them being newsletters and things like that, delete all of them and start fresh. Maybe first do some searches by from sender to make sure that there isn't anything from people whose emails you do want to read. But if they've been sitting in your inbox for several weeks, it's probably too late to respond anyway. Right, once you've deleted everything, you want to start taking action on individual emails as they start coming in. Unsubscribe from newsletters you never read and set up filters for everything else to be sorted into folders. Once again, I only have a few folders. I have a temp folder. This is where newsletters I actually want to read go. Special offers, discounts, stuff like that. I like saving money. So I don't have notifications turned on for my email. I don't want to be pinged and distracted every time something arrives in my inbox. I check my email manually twice a day at 12 o'clock and 5 p.m. At 5 p.m. is when I will look at what's new in my temp folder and delete everything I'm not interested in. Logan Apex, again, stuff related to my YouTube channels will go in there. Money, bank, credit card statements and so on automatically end up in there. A lot of these emails I don't actually need to read, but I might want to keep them for future reference. So my filter is set up to mark them as read straight away, so I don't waste my time and energy looking at them, but they're saved and categorized if I ever need to find them in the future. Personal catches emails from my contacts. And that's how I organize my emails. Next, let's have a look at my desktop. So I don't keep anything on the desktop except for this temp folder, which just like the temporary folder in my email is just for things that require my attention in the short term before either being deleted or organized into a different folder. I have my Logan Apex folder where I keep things related to my 2 online businesses and a shortcut to Pages where I write my video scripts. How I organize the files on my computer is really a subject for another video. I use custom scripts and various apps for automation and finding things quicker. An app called Alfred is at the center of all this. One thing I'll mention as well is Clean My Mac. I highly recommend it if you're using a Mac. You can get similar software for Windows as well. I will run a full scan regularly and it will show me apps and files I haven't opened or used for a while, and I can easily get rid of all of that stuff with just a few clicks. Alright, finally let's have a quick look at my iPad. So, similar setup to my iPhone, only keeping the most essential apps in the dock and on the first screen. Because you have a little more screen real estate to play with here, it's tempting to add more stuff. But I only keep the most essential things on the first screen. Everything else in folders on the second screen. I do a lot of work on my iPad, so I have a few more apps here. On the first screen, I have Discord and Telegram that I use for work-related chat groups. I don't have those apps on my phone because of the smaller screen size. I also have this Notes widget, so I can quickly grab my Apple Pencil and scribble something. In the dock, the same apps as on my phone with the addition of Notion and Pages, both central to my workflow. Day 1 is where I keep track of all my personal stuff, Notion is for work-related things. But yeah, not much else to say about that, to say about my iPad really. One thing you may have noticed here, and on my phone as well, is that I use a very basic wallpaper. I don't use photos, just a very simple geometric design or a solid color. Once again, to keep distractions to a minimum. Yeah, and that's it. That's how I keep my digital life clutter-free and organized. See you next time.